This episode is brought to you by Netflix. Most Valuable Promotions and Netflix are hosting a blockbuster triple headliner Saturday, May 16th. Ronda Rousey returns to face fellow women's MMA pioneer Gina Carano in the main event. Plus co-mains Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry. And the best heavyweight in the world, Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins. Watch Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano, live only on Netflix. Saturday, May 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Live from New York, it's a show that's congratulating Lisa Leslie for her latest accomplishment.
It's really unbelievable. And I'm surprised it happened already. Multi-time MVP, multi-time finals MVP.
Icon of the WNBA.
Brew, did you hear the news?
No.
Getting a statue outside of the
Outside
that
Staples.
Yeah.
I am happy for Lisa.
Okay, good.
That's
Yes,
great.
100%.
I mean, again, how in the world you going to get in that building? I have no idea. But it's great that she's deserving
Totally
of the statue from L.A.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, it's awesome.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
But is it going to be
But you
fun
trying
for
to,
you?
but you
It's
trying
gonna
to
be crazy.
navigate is
I
always.
mean, my goodness. Spread them out around the perimeter, all right? My gosh. That's why Kobe's is across the street.
First hour, first
Kobe
thing.
has
Is it across the street? He got
has-
a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Today, more NFL schedule news. Stafford versus Love on Thanksgiving Eve. Who would a Super Bowl mean more to? An interesting question I just made up, but we're at
That
not.
actually is a good.
I told you how.
Maybe we go that route.
Meanwhile, Bears Lions on Thanksgiving. Is there a chance Caleb gets better, but the Bears get worse?
Oh, don't you
That's a
dare try
classic.
to hedge your bet.
That's a
KW,
classic.
listen, we all
He'll probably be
we
better.
all have to be true to who we are. And one of the things that you are is a Caleb Williams non-believer.
No. You know what I
yes.
like? Complete. You know what I am? A completion percentage
You love
believer.
You love completion percentage.
And finally, Wemby can send the Wolves home. When he's in Minnesota, they'll kind of be home already. But is he also on the Bud list? We'll discuss. No letter on the Bud list. Let's not make a big deal out of it.
Letter on the.
We have a limited time. It's an hour show. We got indie practice. We got
You
no
just
show
love
tomorrow.
that.
Man,
That you don't
this
have to,
guy
didn't
is
have to
really
do a letter.
taking summer Fridays to a.
This is
to a-
basically a summer Friday.
Yeah, I mean, we're off tomorrow, only an hour-long show.
Nick Wright, Kevin Wilds, Chris Broussard.
Me and Brew are locked in.
Yeah, we're ready.
Locked in
To what?
to crush the next 58 minutes.
I'm always locked in. We're starting in Cleveland. End of the game. Cavs have gone on a 9-0 run to tie it up. Sir Thompson comes up with a loose ball, gets tripped by Jared Allen. No call. Game goes into OT and the Pistons lose. Here's JB Bickerstaff, not happy.
Coach, did they give you a reason why there was no foul call on Jared Allen on that trip?
He fouled a SAR. It's bad. I mean, it's clear. He trips him when he's going for a loose ball. In the game situation, you know, that's tough.
Okay, where the Pistons robbed.
I can give him the reason why it wasn't called.
Sure.
There's a second left and they didn't want to call it. Like I'm sure they're not going to say that's the reason.
They
but
didn't want the game decided.
Right. The reason
that way.
was it's a tie game and there's a second left in the playoff game. I don't want to call it. And
I mean, that was Kate's
That's
explanation.
basically what it is.
that's 100% the
I mean,
reason
look, he
why.
definitely got fouled. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Okay, that's the
he
end.
would have been at the free throw line shooting, and he's a 60% free
Yeah.
throw shooter. Who knows if he would have hit him? And you're right. And I think it's a foul. They should have called the foul. They should have blown the whistle. But I do think there would have been an uproar the other way had a game being. It's one thing if you go to the basket, you're
Yes.
shooting, you get fouled,
Okay.
or you're trying to dribble, you get mugged. But a loose ball foul, I think some people would feel like, that's deciding in a game 5. Bottom line, though, is this. While I do think the Pistons, I won't say robbed, but I do think that was a foul. It's hard to feel sympathy for the Pistons, who, of course, I picked to win this series, when you are at home with a 9-point lead with 3 minutes left. And you blow it. You get outscored 9-0 the rest of regulation. You go 0 for 6 from the field. You commit 2 turnovers. And so you shouldn't have even been in that position. All right, so that's my thing. And game 5s, we know how pivotal they are. And what's happened to the Pistons yesterday, Tobias Harris, who has been great throughout the playoffs, came back to earth, 13 points. He had been stepping in for Jalen Duren. Jalen is, again, yesterday, disappeared so much that Paul Reed was playing at the end of the game. They benched him. And Paul Reed's been playing well. I want to see more of him.
They call him the best third-string center in the NBA.
He might be.
Benched in overtime is wild.
Yeah. I think you're going to see more of Paul Reed.
Full fourth quarter?
Paul Reed did not play after the end of the third. I'm sorry, Paul Reed. Jalen Duren did not play after
He
the
has
end of the
disappeared. And then when Tobias comes back to earth and can't make up for what Jalen's not giving you, they didn't have enough scoring. It was all okay. And Duncan Robinson not there, which he's not a great player. But on this team, you
need him.
Yeah. And so that's what's happened to him.
So listen, I also want to – I agree with Drew it was a call. I also think the kind of rules of engagement at the end of playoff games is usually we're going to err on the side of not making a call rather than making a call, especially when you're 80 feet from the basket. Yeah. I also think had they called it, it could have simply just meant the Cavs win in regulation. Not the Pistons, the Cavs. Because when the foul occurs, there's a second and a half left. Clock stops. The Cavs have a timeout, and you're sending a guy who in the playoffs is shooting 54% from the line. Yeah. So almost no matter what, they are going to get some type of last-second shot that is Cleveland.
From half
you can advance it.
No, but I'm saying call a timeout.
Call a timeout, advance it. So I don't know what would have happened had they called the foul. I do know that you then had overtime to make up for Detroit. They had 4 fourth-quarter shot clock violations. Yeah. When Detroit's offense looks bad, it looks impossibly bad. And so robbed is too strong. I'd be upset if I were a Pistons fan, but I think I'd be most upset over the point Brew made, which is a 9-point lead in the biggest, I guess I can't call it the biggest game of their season because they faced elimination 3 times, but in a pivotal game 5 at home to really take control of the series and to not be able to get anything going. And there was only one Detroit possession down the stretch where I thought, oh, man, they got a great look and just missed. It was a lot of, trying to get shots up at the shot clock buzzer or after the shot clock buzzer. The offense was a mess.
Before we turn to the NFL, you didn't send out one of your clever James Harden tweets?
Well, there was no stat to update. Listen, Harden was excellent. I thought there was the one play that they ended up that they challenged when the flop on the 3 that I thought was unbecoming. Harden was excellent. I can say it however many times people need me to say it. I am never surprised if James Harden has an excellent playoff game. I am absolutely stunned if James Harden goes through an entire series without a playoff game or 2 that make you wonder, is something wrong with him? Did he not sleep the night before? Is he panicking? And now, with that said, he has an opportunity, I suppose, to rewrite his story at least somewhat over not just this series, but it would have to.
I don't think.
No, it would have to go into the next series. Yeah. But if they win this series, and then they will be underdogs against the Knicks. If he is a big part of the Cavs getting to their only finals, I think in franchise history, not involving LeBron James, then I think that does, that certainly overshadows his Game 2 performance that was terrible. And so I give Harden credit. He was really good last night, and he was the best player on Cleveland.
Donovan wasn't great.
No, Donovan had the 5 straight points in overtime that was huge. One of them was when Cade forgot someone was guarding him and he got it stolen in the backcourt. But no, it's not. He's been good games 3, 4, and 5. James Harden has
ever since the chatter.
Yeah, and so
he didn't know.
And so credit to him, but it doesn't change my overarching feeling on Harden.
Harden?
Yeah.
Or I think he wants to answer this question.
I agree. Are Cavs proving they're dangerous?
Yeah.
Because I agree with Nick on Harden. They could win the series. They've proven that. I don't think they can beat the Knicks.
No.
I mean, so
Are you giving up on your Pistons?
No, I'm not. I actually think they can go there. Maybe it's from what we saw in Orlando. Obviously, a better defensive team, Orlando, not as good offensively. But no, I think the Pistons have a legitimate shot to still win this series.
This
About
is a
4 toes down on the.
Yeah, that's
On the
12
Pistons?
meters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or about
I'm at
maybe
least
less.
5. I'm
At least 5?
Okay.
I think
At least
this
5.
is a very good test is the wrong word, but a good, potentially good moment for JB Bickerstaff, because I really want to see how he's able to get the team, if he's able to get the team to get over that type of loss. The playoff games
Well,
that
look,
you
I think
have
what he
won,
did with Orlando, down 3-1, and down, 24 in that deciding
exactly
game.
right. And so I think that is maybe a testament that he can. But you guys, I said this, gosh, I think it was the Knicks-Hawks game 2, the one where the Knicks were up 10 late and just gave it away. Those types of, in a series that's tight, and that series ended up being tight, feeling like, gosh darn it, we now have to win 5 of 7 because we won that game and they got the win. That can be, emotionally devastating for a team. So I'm curious how they come out in Game 6.
All right, head to the NFL. Now we're only discussing the officially announced games. Okay, no half measure.
For all we know, Jordan Schultz is lying.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Week 12, Packers at Rams. The first Thanksgiving Eve game. Sean McVay never beaten his buddy Matt LaFleur's Packers. 5-0 going back to 2020. Now, let's suppose the Rams roll and Stafford wins the Super Bowl. What do you think that means for his legacy? We're kind of going
All the way to the Super Bowl.
Yep. And he won.
Yeah, exactly. Listen. It says right there, there are 7 quarterbacks that have 2 Super Bowl wins and an MVP. Here's who they are. And so, Patrick, Tom, Peyton, Elway, Montana, Bruce Guy, Terry Bradshaw, and Bart Starr. So I think Stafford would join that list. What's most notable, I think, is who's not on it. So Drew Brees is not on that list. Drew Brees, doesn't have an MVP or multiple Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers is not on that list. Brett Favre is not on that list. I'm not going to name every quarterback, but some of the quarterbacks that I think everyone looks at as a tier or 2 above Stafford in wherever Stafford is historically. And I think that would have to change. I think that, and Brew, you've made the point, and Coach Mangini makes the point about most all-time great quarterbacks elevate franchises. Yep. And the Lions, clearly as a franchise, are elevatable because once he left, with the right coach and the right everything, they elevated. And you've made the point about he had Calvin Johnson. It's not like they never had good players.
Right.
With all that said, if the story on Stafford is he got out of Detroit, and in the 6 years he was not in Detroit, he won 2 Super Bowls, made another conference championship game, won a league MVP, I think people will say he was always this level of player. And I think like Big Ben, Drew Brees, whatever room of the Hall of Fame they're in, Brett Favre maybe, he enters that same room because of the accolades.
Oh, that room? Yeah, I think he does enter that room. Now, I would say this first of all, and I think he's viewed as a Hall of Famer already.
As of the MVP.
Is. The MVP, but there are MVPs without him. Rich Gannon, who you mock me about, but he won an MVP.
I don't mock you at all.
I think Brian Sipe, is he?
Oh my God,
Matt
that's the
Ryan,
one we mock you.
all these
Brian
guys.
Sipe, yeah.
So I don't know if he's definitive Hall of Famer. He probably is, but probably not first ballot, which is just one Super Bowl, one MVP.
Matt Ryan, Cam Newton are not going to the Hall of Fame. They also didn't win Super Bowls.
Right, but if he wins 2 Super Bowls, he's obviously a Hall of Famer. And I think everybody feels he's that anyway, but then he would have the accolades. Oddly, he only has 3 Pro Bowls.
Yep.
1 All-Pro. So he doesn't, really have a ton of hardware accolades.
But his counting stats are crazy.
Well, that's the thing. And even in Detroit, I remember
Yards
the talk
and
was like, this guy's going to be one of the all-time leaders in yards and touchdowns, but he's not even he's not a Hall of Famer. And so now, with all those accolades, the question to me becomes this, and I'm not saying I would do this. A few years ago, this would have been unfathomable to even bring it up.
I can't wait to hear what this is.
Do you think you know where I'm going?
No, I have no idea.
Could, if he wins another Super Bowl, and he's in that group you said, is it at least a discussion between him and Aaron Rodgers? Now, Rodgers' numbers, like the passer rating is way better for Rodgers. But I'm saying Rodgers only been to one Super Bowl. Stafford would have 2. Now Rodgers has 4 MVPs. He would only have 1.
The MVPs are a lot.
Yeah, and so I'm not saying I definitely would, but I do think, like you said, Nick, it would kind of erase almost completely what happened in Detroit. And you would say he had 6 years in a solid franchise and won 2 Super Bowls.
Yes. So
I'm not saying it would put him ahead of Rodgers. I'm just
It would
saying,
become
does it become a
so
discussion?
if we just did this century quarterback rankings, Brady, Mahomes, and Manning is going to be, I think, almost everyone's top 3.
Yep.
And maybe not that order. Maybe we'll have Manning ahead of Mahomes.
Unless Josh.
No, I'm talking about as
Lamar,
of like.
absolutely.
And I think everyone's top 4 has Aaron Rodgers next.
Yes.
For this century, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have the Breeze, Big Ben, Stafford, some would say Eli, and maybe there's someone I'm forgetting, but Josh, Lamar. That's 10 guys, essentially. I do think Stafford would. People would start arguing him versus Rodgers, if for no other reason than the biggest knock on Rodgers is the postseason, the lack of his number. You always bring up the conference championship games, but the lack of a postseason success to go along with the regular season success. And Stafford's playoff numbers are insane on a per-game basis. He doesn't have the volume of these other guys, but he would maybe if they won the Super Bowl. And
Rodgers are up and down. Like even the conference championship game he won.
Right, against Caleb Haney. And so I think it would become an argument of like, the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks this century. You have Brady, Mahomes, and Manning, 3 spots locked. And then the 4th spot, I do think you're right, Brew. I think most people probably would still go Rodgers, but I think it becomes an argument. But he would clearly jump Breeze and Big Ben.
I think so. I do think
probably. They're right there. Rodgers 5th all-time passing yards. Stafford is 6th. Rodgers 4th all-time touchdown. Stafford is 7th, but Rodgers has about 100 more touchdowns.
Yeah, Stafford may end up. I think Stafford will end up with more yards.
He's going to pass him in yards, probably not touchdowns.
Touchdowns tough. All right, Thanksgiving Day, Bears at Lions. Now, this is a rematch of this video, this disastrous Bears ending on Thanksgiving 24, when Chicago needs a field goal.
That cost Eberflus his job.
Correct. Sitting on timeouts, take a shot, and then they just watch time expire. Eberflus gets fired the next day. Ben Johnson ends up being the coach. Caleb is all of a sudden a great quarterback, and here we are. Now, it's the storyline.
Caleb's all of a sudden a great quarterback.
Well, I'm saying he becomes a great.
He was the number 1 pick.
Well, he had a not great rookie year. Is that fair?
Yeah, sure.
They were taking shots at the end zone, and it goes to 0. Head-to-head last 4 seasons, Bears and Lions. 7 wins to 1, 30 points a game and 407 total yards. Who would you rather have this year, Caleb or Goff?
I'm shocked this is even a question.
Wow.
I agree, but let's hear it.
Caleb, because the ceiling is so much higher. I agree. I know what I'm going to get with Goff, and it'll be good, I believe. But Caleb, I'm not as sure what I'm going to get. But the ceiling, the potential, you're talking about a Volvo, a nice Volvo. Nothing against Volvos. That's Goff.
I have a Volvo.
And you're talking about a Porsche. We are. There's no question about it, especially with Ben Johnson. So, give me Caleb. I'm shocked. I don't even think this is a question.
Everybody knows. Listen, I'm a Caleb guy. I never stopped being a Caleb guy. I tried, Danny was on the show. Danny's from Chicago. I can't have Caleb and Mahomes. I was very nice there. So you guys know what my answer is going to be. I also once I should have leaned into this more because
What is it?
The superhero versus civilian thing.
Oh yeah, the civilian.
Yeah,
You've always done that.
But this is a great example of it. One guy has the ability to be a superhero, and the other guy's an awesome civilian. So I will take the superhero. I have rationale for it, but first I would like to hear KW, who there was a brief moment in time, America, where Caleb was making the greatest plays we'd ever seen in the NFL for a couple weeks in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Where KW came on the air on Monday. He's like, listen, I don't know what you want me to say. It might be the best play I've ever seen. And then
It may have been the best play I've ever seen.
and then the euphoria wore off, and your skepticism, remained.
No, my skepticism is rooted in facts. I'm not talking about for their entire career. This year, I would rather have Goff over Caleb. Specifically for this matchup, they're going to play, and we showed that graphic. The Lions have owned the Bears recently. That Week 2 game was 56 on that. A lot of that is not Caleb. A lot of it is just the Bears defense, which I don't think is going to be that much better. Second of all, you guys know maybe I'm old school. You know what I like? Completion percentage. Caleb completed 58% of his passes last year on average. The last 2 years, Jared Goff has only had 2 games where he was around 58%. He had 1 game where he's at 100%. In Caleb's neighborhood of quarterbacks completing 58%. Tyrod Taylor, Dylan Gabriel, then Caleb, then Russ, then J.J. McCarthy. And I know you're saying, Wilds, why'd they win so many games? Well, thank you for asking. They won so many games because they were pulling rabbits out of a hat. Of teams that had won, 11 games? 11 win teams in 2025. Point differential. The Seahawks won the Super Bowl plus 91.
Yeah, they were clutch.
Bears, okay.
He was clutch.
No, they lucky and clutch.
Clutch is the glass half full version.
It was Jaden the year before.
And he got robbed on that.
But you loved him. You loved him.
Whether or not I love Jaden Daniels is not relevant to this. This team had a lot of turnover luck, had a lot of late game luck, had a lot of bouncing balls luck. Final one. If we're going to rip the Patriots for having the easiest schedule of all time last year, I think it's noteworthy on seeing who has the toughest schedule this year. It's the Bears.
I agree.
Based on last year's win.
No, that's correct.
So for all those reasons, I would take the guy who completes more passes, has the easier schedule, has dominated head-to-head matchups.
That to me, the last 2 minutes there were an argument to why the Lions are better than the Bears, not whose quarterback's going to be better. I think
I'm a wins guy too.
I think you might, but you're a completion percentage guy. Because the wins went to Caleb last year.
What I would ask you, Wiles, is
of lucky
second year with Ben Johnson. I agree. Goff, if it's going to be the same Caleb and the same Goff, I would take Goff. But I'm expecting Caleb to take a nice jump.
That's the point that I was going to make, which is where I think you are not. I don't think it's intentional. I just don't think you're being fair to Caleb. Caleb, after his rookie year, had the things he needed to immediately, drastically improve on. The cartoonish sacks, the pre-snap penalties were 1A and 1B, and we were tracking it during preseason. Mm-hmm. And by the end of the year, he was spectacular at that. Not only was he not taking... What, KW?
Spectacular at not getting pre-snap penalties.
No, spectacular.
It's not like I've never even heard that phrase before.
I was saying it was spectacular at the front end part. You're right. The pre-snap penalties things are binary. But what I think you would agree was spectacular at was his rookie year, he was taking 30-yard sacks. And his second year, he was dropping back 30 yards and throwing playoff-winning touchdowns. And he cut those out. I would imagine this year the thing he needs to improve upon the most is the accuracy and completion percentage. And when we saw him address his biggest weakness from year 1 to year 2, I would think he will address his biggest weakness from year 2 to year 3.
I would be stunned if he doesn't take a jump.
Yeah.
And it'll say a lot if he doesn't.
Yeah. Okay. If he takes a jump, he could just get to average, though.
I don't think he was average.
That's just completion percentage.
He wasn't average.
But the rest
he was
of
far below average.
No, in one thing, KW.
Well, it's kind of a big thing. It's completing passes.
It's not. I don't think it's a big thing at all.
Well,
you may think you know McDonald's drinks. But you don't know them like this. From fruity refreshers like the Strawberry Watermelon Refresher and the Mango Pineapple Refresher with popping boba, to crafted sodas like the Sprite Berry Blast with berry-flavored Sprite topped with cold foam. Who knew ice-cold drinks could be so fire? 6 all-new drinks are here. Try them all, now at McDonald's. Refreshers contain caffeine.
It's time now for the most motivational segment in all of sports is the Bud List. Because we've got IndyCar practice coming up, we only have an hour show. The show's already halfway over. Had no time to go to the post office, just going to get right to the motivation. That's what the fans want.
That's it?
Yep, raw motivation.
There's something coming.
Raw and uncut
There's
motivation.
a cowboy
There's
brew going to be
nothing
flying
coming.
across the
Mailing
screen.
it in.
Jackson Blade.
And for you to be the leader of the show, the fact that you haven't figured out, it is worth substituting a little time for the pick-me-up Brew gets from the letter. The letter motivates Brew.
It gets me
to then motivate
It's
other
like
people.
a pregame speech.
Exactly right.
From a coach.
Or a smelling salt.
So here we
Almost.
go.
Yeah.
Number 3. I bring it no matter what. All right. Number 3, Jalen Duren. Look, Jalen, a lot of reasons that you guys are on the brink of elimination as the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Asur Thompson not clothing himself in glory this series.
Some great defensive plays by Asur.
He's had somebody.
Yeah.
I need a little something on
Yes.
something on the offensive
Yeah.
end. Duncan Robinson, who's not great, but he's important for you guys. Take a little pressure off of Cade. He didn't play last night with a back injury. And Cade, for all his greatness, averaging 6 turnovers in this 3-game losing streak that has you down 3-2 to the Cavs. So there are a lot of reasons, but Jalen, you're clearly number 1. The Pistons have come to count on you for 20 points and 10 rebounds a game. That seems like ancient history. 20 points, 10 rebounds a game, what you did in the regular season. This series, look at this drop. That is the biggest drop in the playoff history since the merger in 1976. That's when the merger was with the ABA. So that's some serious, a serious stat there for you, Jalen. This series, you're averaging 9 points, 6.5 boards. That makes what you did against Orlando, 10 points, 9 rebounds, or 50% shooting, 53%, look good. And it wasn't good, believe me. And so you have disappeared. It's just as simple as that. And here's the problem. For the Pistons, it could deny you guys your first trip to the Eastern Conference Finals since 2008. For you, it could be big money.
Can I ask a question, bro?
Yeah.
Cross sports, but Cal Raleigh had this like huge slump. He was like 0 for 38. Yeah. He just went on the DL with an oblique strain.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that Duren, it's so bad, it's so historically bad that he has an injury? Don't worry about that.
If we find that out, that would probably be good.
I know, but then why is it? It's just an all-time choke job. It's crazy.
I don't know if it's. He's being exposed as maybe just not. Remember last year he was 10 and 11. Those are his numbers.
He might be out of gas too.
Yeah, it
might be the he's playing this, hasn't played this many games for. I don't know.
But look, it's a bad time.
And he's a free agent
because he's a restricted free agent. If he makes the All-NBA team, which I think he will, I had him on my second team.
I think he'll make it.
I think he'll make at least third team. He is up for a 5-year, $287 million extension. I'm sorry. If I'm the Pistons, there's no way I'm signing.
Maybe that's what it is.
Look. Well, that's not a good sign either. If that's the case, if he's nervous about the money, I doubt that's the case. But look, the bright side. Let's end on a positive note.
Yeah.
You got 2 games left, or at 1 game at least.
Yep.
That if you play well and the Pistons win, you got another game, maybe a whole nother series, if not more. And so there is time for redemption, Jalen. But you better get started now. I have believed in you. That's why I picked you guys to reach the finals and put you on All-NBA. But go ahead and start delivering. All right, at number 2, Julius Randle. Now, Nick, I thought Randle's playoff woes were behind him. Now, in New York, he was known for that. He was a 2-time All-NBA player. And in the playoffs.
Was dreadful.
Yes. Shot 34% in like 3 series, the 3 playoff series he played in with the Knicks, shot 34%. Again, as an all-NBA player, it was bad. And it ultimately got you shipped out of town to Minnesota where you're at now. Last year, you were good in the playoffs. Averaged 21 points a game, helped the Timberwolves get back to the Western Conference Finals. But you have disappeared this series, 14 points a game, 30-some-odd% shooting from the floor, 36% shooting from the floor. And Anthony Edwards desperately, who's playing valiantly on 2 bad knees, desperately needs a consistent second scorer. And that's supposed to be you. Again, like with Duren, there is time. You guys are down 3-2. There's time for you to, come out and play well in game 6 and 7 if there is one, and redeem yourself. But if you don't, if you go out meekly in this series, you and the team, you could find yourself on the trading block. There was already talk about that at the trade deadline, and it could happen this offseason. Certainly be something you'd have to be concerned or worried about. So, Julius, good luck. All right, at number 1, James Harden. Now, James, I know you are unaware of the chatter that's out there about you, but let me help you out. The chatter is that many people, most people, maybe everyone outside of you and your circle, believe that you don't come up big in the playoffs, that you shrink in the big games and the big moments. Now, to your credit, you have played very well since that game 2 stinker where you had 10 points in this series. You have played very well in leading the Cavs to 3 straight wins. You dropped 30 last night, which was great, and now you're up 3-2. But the real test is about to begin, because games 6 and 7 are huge. I'll give you a little bit of your history, and not to make it a negative thing, but you see the graphic right here. Those numbers don't look terrible, but the 39% from the field, the 30% from 3 in game 6 and 7, it's a little worse than that, because look, 2017, Nick, against the Spurs, he was in Houston at the time, you had a 33-point game and a 43-point game in that series. Game 6, needed 10 points, 6 turnovers, 2 for 11 shots.
And that was a game where Kawhi, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili were all out.
Yes.
And they lost by, I think, 42 points.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah.
2023, you're in Philadelphia. You're against Boston. Now you've dropped 2 40-plus point games. All right? And then combined in games 6 and 7, you scored 22 with 10 turnovers on 26% shooting from the floor. And last year, you had some big games in your series with Denver. You were with the Clippers then. And in game 7, 7 points. Yeah. 2 for 8 shooting. Only 8 shots. So
there
James,
was a 1 for 10 in Brooklyn mixed in there too as well.
Yeah, I couldn't go through all of them. But but you look, getting through this series, playing well in game 6 and 7 is not going to erase your playoff troubles. That would take the next series and maybe even get into the finals. But if you fall back into the tank and struggle in these next 2 games and the Cavs lose the series, then it really just makes a bad playoff resume even worse. So James, I actually do believe you might get over this hump this at least this series.
Quality Bud list. You ready for the Sports Media Ombudsman? It's Thursday at 3:37. You're in for a real
an intro.
Well, it's more of a sarcastic intro.
Yeah, it is.
It's time now.
It usually says whether you like it or
whether you like it or not. It's time for the Sports Media Ombudsman.
Brew's not going to like it.
A lot of fodder out there.
Brew's not going to like this one.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm not firing back at any, people with podcasts who've been firing at me this week. That's fine. I'm keeping it on the court, kind of. I need my friends in print and broadcast media to brush up on some definitions. Most notably, what revenge means. Revenge, typically, is someone does you wrong and you get them back. It's not typically, a great story of revenge is not, I robbed this guy's house, and then the next day, I robbed him again. That's not revenge. It's a crime spree. And so I was a little stunned when Wemby's Game 5 was framed as his revenge. On who, for what? Yet, The Athletic, New York Times owned,
New York Times.
great publication, showed me this headline. Victor Wembanyama counters Timberwolves rage baiting with cold-blooded revenge. I watched
Moving paper.
on ESPN.
They love Wemby.
Chinny, who I think is outstanding, did a whole monologue about how the bear clawed back. Folks, the person you're talking about is not the one receiving this vicious elbow. He's the one delivering it. To Wemby's credit, he has since apologized and said he regretted it. Oh, wait, no, he hasn't.
I was going to say.
He's not apologized.
I missed that one.
He hasn't talked about it. He's never, when he was asked to finally acknowledge it, he's like, that was 2 games ago. Oh. Well, yeah, we didn't talk to you after game 4 because he got thrown out. The only person you've talked to about it is Pop. We don't know what that was said there.
Oh, Pop was not happy.
So listen, I am not going after Wemby here. I don't even really mind the elbow. I wish he didn't hit him in the throat, but had he hit him in the chest, it wouldn't have been a big deal. It was dangerous and he shouldn't have done it. I don't think it makes him a bad guy. But I am stunned. If I'm Naz Reid's aunt, I'm like, wait a minute. What's going on? Why is he exacting revenge on my son for what he did? I don't get it. So
even Naz Reid gave him a little push. Like, what's Naz Reid telling me?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't
like
make
a gentle
sense.
push.
I will say this. I think, like, he didn't apologize. You're right. He just said, hey, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
I think he looks at it like it's the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got clearly a student of history. I'm sure he's looked at Kevin McHale and Kurt Rambis,
Absolutely.
Bill Laimbeer and Robert Pitt, like Kareem. Like,
Dr. J and Bird.
Right. I'm Carl Malone. I'm sure he's like, hey,
And I think
I'm not
he
going to do it
knows-
again, but this,
And
I'm
I think
not
he knows
apologizing.
these guys try to bully me.
Yeah, they
I'm
clearly
busy
give
and they're not
physical
going to
with
let
you.
me.
Yeah, they definitely give
I just
physical
don't.
with you.
I just didn't. That's all. Go ahead, KW.
Ohtani, believe it or not, headed to the Bud list.
What?
Might be one of his first, if only.
Oh yeah.
And
We haven't
only
heard much
appearance.
about the boat lately.
Ohtani's
He's still in
hitting
the boat.
under duress.
Swamp. It's called a swamp.
Pitching, he's doing phenomenal. Last night, 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, no runs. His ERA is now at .82.
That's crazy.
Should
Does
win
he
the
doesn't
Cy
have a
Young.
win this year, though.
Does
he have a win?
Yeah, he's got a few wins, and he won last night. They won, I think, 4-0. The problem is, bro, hitting kind of falling off a cliff.
There's no Bobby Witt. That's
Since May 14th, we did both. May 14th last year, May 14th this year. Batting average from 302 to 240. Hits from 48 to 36. Runs are down. Home runs are down. And he hit one earlier this week. That used to be 12-6. Extra base hits are way down. Slugging percentage way down. He's getting tonight off, okay? Didn't hit yesterday when he pitched. And Dave Roberts is giving him the night off tonight. According to FoxSports.com, this will be the first time in Ohtani's tenure with the Dodgers that he'll be held out of the lineup in consecutive games, even though he's available to play. So Dave Roberts thinks it's a minor league emergency. They're benching him. It's a little bit of fatigue, but we need Ohtani to get back on
I have
track.
a great question.
Okay.
Let's say he won the Cy Young this year, but continued to hit 240, whatever, 20.
Would you
homers.
just make him just a hitter? Yes.
One or the other? Yeah, I mean, one or the other. Which is he more
Well, no,
valuable?
well, the thing is,
Now he's a great
he
pitcher
might
who
be
can
more
hit.
valuable for them as a pitcher, but I would
as a pitcher
rather
with just this
for his
average
career
bat.
have him-
I mean, I guess it'd be that, Brew.
I'd
Let
rather him be a hitter as a fan, but as a team, he's probably more
Because it's not like
valuable
he's
as
a
pitcher.
bad hitter right now.
I wrote a little song to remind you Choice Hotels get you more of the experiences you value. The Cambria Hotel's got it all. A rooftop bar, have a ball. Cocktails up here feel just right. Is Cambria amazing? All right. Bring a date, your team, or even your mom. Book direct at choicehotels.com. See you on the roof.
Saturday night is baseball night on Fox this week. Ooh, Subway Series. Aaron Judge and the Yankees. Juan Soto. He's day-to-day, but that's not today. That's Saturday. Juan Soto and the Mets. Or Padres Mariners Saturday at 7 Eastern, only on Fox. Afternoon headlines brought to you by Backyard Grill. Only at Golden Corral. Spurs at Wolves tomorrow. Wemby's got a chance to go to the conference finals, take on the Thunder. Last 2 wins, Brew. put up some big numbers, 39, 27. He's got a total of 32 rebounds, 8 blocks, and shooting okay from 3 after going 2 for 15 over his first 2 games this series.
And Brew probably likes the 5 attempts more than anything.
Yeah. I mean, that's right about number. Where he should be.
Right
Absolutely.
Do you expect Wemby to close this out, bro?
I do. Now, I wouldn't be shocked if the T-Wolves, they got a lot of heart. Obviously, Ant is great, and maybe Jaden McDaniels or somebody has a big night. But I really feel, Nick, like the Spurs are going to close this out. I feel like that game 4 expulsion or ejection, whatever you want to call it, I think that woke up something in Wemby.
Ooh.
I really like the way he came, and we've seen him before, like late in the season, he was putting up huge numbers. But I just think now, like they talked about the angry and mature Wemby, I think he's still angry, and I think he's matured from that ejection to know, like they've been pushing. I'm not trying to make him a victim, but he has been getting pushed around.
Been going after
and the way he handled it in Game 5 was great. He laughed about it, whatever. It doesn't bother me. I think it was getting to him maybe earlier, even just in his mind, and bothering him. It was a nuisance. I don't think he feels that way now. I think he's going to come out again like he did in Game 5 and try to give him a knockout punch early.
In the first quarter.
Yeah, and keep playing well. I'm not saying it'll be a blowout early because they make runs, but I just think I think they're dialed in, and I'm not saying they're looking ahead because they better not be looking ahead, but you know who they want. And I think they're looking at this like this has been brewing all year. We're the 2 best teams in the West. We're the 2 youngest teams in the West. It's going to be like this for a decade. Let's go get them there resting. Let's go ahead and get this series started. So I do think they close them out.
I think they need to. And I know Game 7's in San Antonio, but if hovering over everything with the Spurs has been the youth and lack of experience factor of it. And I do think we have already seen, arguably, that it cost them a game. Mm-hmm. The Wemby ejection.
Certainly, arguably.
And again, we don't know how it would have played out, but certainly, arguably, it already cost them a game. And I think that, oddly, if they were to go to a Game 7, how easy round 1 was might actually work against them. That there was at no point in round 1 where they felt in real jeopardy. Like, you talk about
remember, it was 1-1 and Wemby was hurt.
Correct. And then they crushed them in that, that game. So maybe they had a little trepidation going into that, especially before they knew Wemby was going to be back as quickly as he was. But it was very clear pretty early that Portland was going to have an outlier of outlier three-point shooting night, game after game, to be able to beat that team 4 times. And the Timberwolves are the exact opposite. Game 7 on the road, where they're heavy underdogs, they can be down 20 points and feel like we can win it because that's what they did 2 years ago. And I also think, you said Ant is great. Ant is great. Does Ant have the ability to consistently be great with his knees in the condition they are? I don't know the answer to that. I do think that he should be at his best in Game 6 because of the extra day of rest. And I think that Minnesota crowd in Game 6 will be spectacular. So I think if this goes 7, if we have a Game 7 here, I like Minnesota.
Really?
But I also think that what Bruce said is correct after Game 5. The Spurs are better. You know what I mean? I thought going into the series that Minnesota could actually be better than them. That they were peaking, that I was throwing out the entirety of the regular season because Minnesota just was, Chris Finch was saying it, they didn't care, they're a playoff team. I just thought, line it up equally, Minnesota's slightly better. I don't feel that way anymore. I think Brew was correct on the Spurs being the better team, which is why they can win a closeout Game 6. I was really impressed by the fact that Minnesota was down 12 at halftime, tied it almost immediately, and then the Spurs were like, all right, we're done screwing around, and won by 29, outscoring them by 29 in the final 20 minutes of the game, to me is the line. They're the better team.
But you don't want to play with a Game 7.
No, not with
anything
the
could happen. Yeah,
yes.
it's just anything could happen.
It'd be fine. If the Wolves do lose and get eliminated, this team was built to beat Denver. Denver is no longer the team to beat. do you think they make major changes?
Well, I'm trying to. I mean, Nick and I were talking earlier. They were on the trade deadline. They were one of those teams in the Giannis sweepstakes, so to speak. They'd have to find a third, maybe fourth team to make it happen. But that's what I would be trying to do. They gotta get a consistent second scorer. Like Julius Randle's a little up and down. Jaden can do it here and there, and he's great. I'm not trying to move him at all. But I need somebody that can give me 21.
And as good as DiVincenzo is, and they missed him,
he's not that
that's
guy.
not what he is.
Yeah.
That is correct.
They don't have that guy. They don't have that second scorer.